Okay, it's rainy, kind of drizzly right now and gray. But Jeannie, where are we?
We're at Unajan. It's a 전 Korean pancake place.
So Jeannie, what do we have over here?
This is 김치찌개, so it's just kimchi stew. Kimchi stew.
What's in kimchi stew?
Kimchi, tofu. Sometimes there's meat. I'm not sure if there's meat in here though.
Can I just say, for some strange reason, the lighting in here, it makes me look as though I have incredible cleavage. I usually don't have cleavage like this. Look at this.
Ooh,
Oh my god, what the... Okay, we're coming.
I should have worn a low-cut shirt too.
I know, because I think Jeannie has bigger boobs than me. So I don't know what's going on, but we're coming here again.
Yes. And
Look at me, I'm like one of those fembots in Austin Powers.
Katy Perry.
So yeah, I'm really excited because, as we mentioned before, it's rainy, and when it's rainy in Korea, people traditionally, they eat jeon, which is kind of like a savory pancake, and they drink makgeolli, which is like this unfiltered, is it rice wine?
It's rice wine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfiltered rice wine. So, it sounds like in a way it wouldn't match, right? It's like a savory pancake plus like unfiltered rice wine. Rice
wine. Chaweon, what do you think makgeolli tastes like?
I think it kind of tastes like Sprite, to be honest.
What? It's not that sweet.
It kind of depends on the makgeolli. Like, okay, different areas of Korea are famous for different types of makgeolli. And there's this area that's around the middle of Korea. And there's a city called Gongju, which means princess in Korean, but it's also a city. And they have Gongju Bam makgeolli. And from what I hear, it's so famous, like college students from Seoul will come down, make a trek to Gongju, and just buy a shit ton of chestnut makgeolli and go back to Seoul.
Interesting. This is the Seoul makgeolli. It's from Seoul.
So it's makgeolli is one of those alcohol where because it's unfiltered, you're more likely to get a hangover, or like more likely to get like a headache, right? Oh, and we are pouring it in these bowls because why?
I don't know. These are makgeolli cups.
They're like, yeah, you just drink. You wouldn't use like a glass. That would just be weird.
Or cup?
Yeah.
That'd be weird too. Ooh, that's why Chaweon says it tastes like Sprite. It's carbonated.
Ah, yeah, it's like fermented. I don't know. I just believe.
Done.
I just believe that anything fermented is good for you because that's sort of the way that we right. It tastes like Sprite.
Tastes like Sprite because it is slightly sweet and carbonated.
It doesn't taste like typical alcohol.
It does taste starchy because it is rice wine. Yeah, and it's good. Since it's fermented, it's good for your digestive system.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a probiotic.
Yes, it looks like milk. It has like a fermentedness, like kombucha. It's like kombucha, but a little stronger.
I've never had kombucha.
Kombucha tastes like piss, but I like it.
So it's a stronger piss.
Wow. So
it is bulgogi pajang. It's like pajang with bulgogi on top of it.
Here, let me see if I can do this without.
Oof. Ouch! Ouch!
Look at this. It's kind of like.
So hot.
This is like I love this because usually it's mainly all batter and not vegetables and stuff, but this is actually mainly vegetable and meat, the way it's supposed to be. So it's like a savory pancake, like we mentioned before. Thank you. And there's
bulgogi,
beef, beef on top, and there's like spring onions. Is that what it is? Leeks, spring onions, whatever it is. Scallions, whatever it is.
Yeah, and there's more scallions than batter. It's as if they just put like scallions and like drizzled batter over it just to make them stick.
And this is what people eat during rainy days in Korea. So, Jeannie, what are we talking about today?
So last time we talked about how certain people influenced our lives, and today we'll be talking about how certain events from our teenage years, how they instill certain values in us.
I guess it's like a universal, like, human journey that we do. You know, go from childhood into slowly transitioning into an adult. And I think in first world countries, a lot of that isn't so much that we're put into some sort of like ritual. We're not told to, hey, here's a spear and go kill a lion and come back and then you're an adult. It's nothing like that. So I'm curious to know, Jeannie, what happened to you in your formative years that kind of helped make you the person you are today?
I feel like I was always different. For example, growing up in elementary and middle school, the place where my family and I lived, it was like upstate New York, so it was very white. So I always felt different. Well,
white as in Caucasian.
Well, white as in Caucasian. I'm sure my brothers went through it too, but I always felt like different in the terms of my race. Like the only other Asian, except for our family, in that town was this girl. She was Korean, but she was adopted. So we're the only Asians in that town. So I always
Were you friends with her?
Yeah, I think we're friends, but not like best friends. Yeah, we go over each other's houses and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I always felt different in that way. So feeling different in that town kind of meant like when my mom was there, when she picked me up from school, I'd like pretend I like talk to her in English, in my broken English, and yeah, I feel like from a very young age, one of my top priorities was to try to fit in. I'm sure a lot of people.
I think that's almost everybody, unless you're a psychopath.
But I think my urge to fit in was stronger than most kids.
What would you say that?
Like for example, when like this girl, she's kind of popular in like second grade. She's kind of popular and she's like really into horseback riding. So I was like, oh, that's what cool kids do, horseback riding. And like she said like, oh, I never wear skirts. And up until that age, I loved wearing dresses, skirts.
You told me, yeah.
Yeah, I used to have this like big pot belly, and the skirt used to like, you know, it'd be either like over my belly or under my belly. But anyway, I used to love wearing skirts, but ever since like I just heard that, and I was like, wait a second, like I don't like skirts either. And then all of a sudden I was like telling my parents that I only wanted to wear pants. So I was very, I don't know, what should you call, what do you call that? A follower?
I think all children are followers in a lot of ways, but I guess also because you were different in a very obvious way.
Yeah.
Racially, culturally, linguistically. Right? So how could you not be a follower? You probably felt like an alien.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, so like I try to do like you know, take little bits and pieces here and try to fit in when I obviously couldn't. So that kind of experience made me really concerned about like my friends and who my friends were. But the funny thing is, I was also very awkward. So I wasn't and shy. So I wasn't the type of person to make friends easily. Yeah. So it's like, you know, if you're with your friends and there's this one girl who's like super quiet and just like sitting there like listening to your talk and acting awkward, at that age you don't want to include her.
Or I think another cruel thing that kids do is, even more than like actual bullying, is sort of like you kind of forget the person's there. So they're almost like a nobody. They're invisible. They're there and yet they're completely invisible. And to me, that's one of the most painful things. It's like, hello, I'm breathing. I'm here. And yet you guys are gonna talk and make decisions and then move even tables, and it's like, I'm still sitting, nobody asked me.
So it wasn't like a very obvious, it wasn't bullying, it was just kids being kids, and you know, certain kids want to play with other kids. Do you get what I mean? So in Korean, thank you. In Korean, the word is called 왕따. So it's that one person who can't fit in with the loser. So
well, you have to understand that
sad.
Well, the thing is, you have to understand, in Korean culture, being a wangta, it's not considered like rebel without a cause, like the independent thinker. To not be part of a group, even in the slightest way, is considered a true failing.
Because everyone wants to conform.
Everybody wants to conform. So even as immigrants, when we came over to America, our parents still held that value of how. So I'm sure that a lot of it too. If we had different parents who were much more like, fuck these other kids, do whatever you want to do. Maybe we would have seen that experience as being different, a little bit more empowering. But even if your parents don't actually tell you, you gotta fit in, just the vibe, cultural vibe is that you gotta fit in, you gotta integrate. If you don't have friends, then that's your fault. There's something wrong with you. Never mind the fact that maybe you just don't vibe or jive with the people around you. Maybe if you had grown up in a different city, you would have as a child. Forget that. No. It's your fault. That's the message. It's like, you just got to. And I think that, in a way, is kind of like this weird pressure, which is why I think a lot of Korean Americans tend to stick together. Because the failure of integrating is so extreme, the fear of not integrating is so extreme, that why even try? Let's just stick with what's safe. What do you think?
I can see that. Because, I mean, being like physically different in your outer appearance, that's very obvious. Like you said before. I think that's the reason why Korean Americans or Chinese Americans, Asian Americans like just stick together in their own little cliques.
I think so too. But I think it's really strong with Korean Americans. Compared to other Asian Americans, Korean Americans just love to stick together. That always made me wonder why. Yeah, like I grew up in a neighborhood that had a lot of Korean Americans. And the other Asians, like Vietnamese Americans, Chinese Americans, they would kind of all stick together, Asian people, but Koreans wanted to stick with other Korean Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very specific. Like that was how I grew up. Like there's always this like feeling of wanting to be accepted, but couldn't be. I'm sure it's like my own personality as well. But that didn't actually break until college, when I actually made Korean American friends. So yeah, in high school it was alright. Kind of like, I found my own like nerdy little group and we're fine. They were great.
Nerdy little group. So
Yeah.
what was this group of friends like?
We were very studious. Yeah, we were very studious. Like when we went out, we'd just like get a hamburger at Fuddruckers and go to the movies. And like we'd be home by like 10 p.m. No one ever drank. We weren't invited to any parties. So,
Jeannie, like, her major is like in engineering.
yeah.
So she's smart.
I think I just made a good group of friends in high school who were all very ambitious with their studies. So kind of rubbed off on me as well. And I was also ambitious in my studies, and yeah, so that's how I got into that track. Thank you. High school friends.
It's so important, the type of friends you have when you're young. I think after a certain age, your parents' influence doesn't mean shit, and then it's your friends.
Right. I think it's true still now. Like, I was reading an article about like successful people, or like how to be successful, and then one of the points was that the 5 closest people in your immediate circle, like you're the average of those 5 people. So if they're like all ambitious, then you're probably ambitious as well. But if they're not, then you're probably not as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like in high school, that kind of stuff kind of shed from my desires. Kind of was like in the background. And then in college, when I made more Korean American friends, that's when that kind of desire was fulfilled in a way. And then I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it is. It's great, but I guess it's not something that I needed to like pine for. So now, I mean, I no longer have that. But I don't think there was any one moment in my life when that just disappeared. I was like, oh, and then it was like a epiphany. There was nothing like that, but it was more like steady change throughout the years.
What do you think helped you change?
I think it was just making like a really close group of friends in college. So this close group of friends, we were all similar in some ways, but different in other ways, and we just accepted each other. And I finally had like a really close group of friends where I wasn't scared to be like left out, or a feeling of acceptance. And then after that, I
Got over it?
got over it, and now I don't want to be liked by it. I still have this like feeling of wanting to be liked. I don't know if you noticed.
I noticed.
Damn it, it's still there. But yeah, I have this feeling of wanting to be liked. So even if I'm just afraid of being not liked sometimes. So that kind of feeling is still there, but it's not as strong. And it's not such a big part of my life anymore. So going back to that question now, now I'd rather have a few friends who are very close rather than a large group of friends. Yeah.
I have noticed that you do have a desire to be liked, but I kind of see that as almost everyone having that desire. I also have that desire, but it's not so much to be liked in terms of like, oh, isn't she nice? My desire is to be liked in terms of, isn't she successful? Isn't she smart? Isn't she accomplished? So it's a different type of like, but we all want other people to acknowledge us. I think that's the thing. Like I read somewhere, I forget who said it, but the best thing you can do to anyone, whether it's a child or an adult, is to basically see them for who they are, like actually see them, acknowledge them, give some sort of validation that, hey, you exist, you're here, this is what you have to offer the world. And even if you don't think you have anything to offer the world, just you being here and taking up this space is good enough. That sort of feeling.
That's something, if I ever have kids, something that I want to
I think you will.
make sure that's something that's instilled in them from birth.
I think you will. Like, because you're like that with other people. But I think children also, it's not so much how you treat them as well, because a lot of women that I know, they would never tell their daughters, oh, you're fat, you need to diet. And yet, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they'll look at themselves with judgment. And so the kids, even if they don't hear it, they pick up on that.
They're very intuitive.
Kids are so intuitive. So I think perhaps the best way to raise kids, and we can go off on a tangent about this for hours and hours. Because
Another video from two people who don't have kids.
Exactly. Yay, we're experts. But seriously, like I feel as though kids, they sort of listen to what you say when they're younger, but actually what they really listen to is what you do. So, and you can't fake that.
Yeah. So that's my story. I feel like a lot of things in my life, they didn't change because I wanted it to. It was more like I was more passive and life changed around me, so I adapted or changed.
Well, now that you know that about yourself, then you know you're the type of person, like if you wanted something to change in your life, then your environment, like
my environment needs to change.
So I can see how somebody with that sort of temperament, friends would be very important. 'Cause I think your value, from what I hear, was first experiencing acceptance from a group, and then internalizing that acceptance, and then being able to generate that by yourself, that acceptance, bit by bit. I mean, it wasn't just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So the concept of acceptance. And a lot of people are like that. They first need the world to reflect validation first, and then from that positive reinforcement, then they can take that as a seed, and then they become self-accepting.
Yes. And then after self-accepting, you start to accept others.
Do you think that you were judgmental before? Or
I don't think I was necessarily judgmental, but I was never aware of the importance of acceptance.